Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be looking at the Audi RS5. Now, I mentioned this in my S5 review, so I'll mention it as well in this RS5 review. Audi is doing kind of like a double release with the 25 model year. So basically, they're selling the old body style cars alongside the new body style cars for 2025. The new ones aren't out quite yet, so yeah, just so you guys know. Anyways, huge shout out and thank you to the Audi here in Salt Lake for me some time with this RS5. Link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for Jack. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood we have a 2.9 liter V6 twin turbo that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 444 horsepower and then 442 pound-feet of torque. Now before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So taking a look at the hood, you guys can see really sharp lines that all kind of funnel towards the center, and cool lighting design there. Audi always does a good job with their daytime running lights. Blacked out grille, blacked out badging and all of that looks really sharp with the subtle RS5 badge. But putting it all together, it's cool looking. Now around the side here, our turn wheel setup is 275 by 30 by 20 in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheels, you got the silver with the blacked out trim. Also, you got the cool blacked out brake caliper as well. RS5 there on the side, and yeah, this is a black car with blacked out trim, so not a lot of contrast. Now key fob's pretty straightforward, lock and unlock, opening for the hatch, RS logo there on the back, and popping into said hatch. It's practical. This is the cool thing about the Sportback, and I think this is why they're kind of going all in on the Sportback for the redesigned version, because it's just spacious. So that's nice, and it is automatic, so just press that button, that will lower the hatch right back down. And then the taillight design I think is pretty cool this generation. Be interesting to see what the new one's like in person. And then you've got the oval exhaust tips there at the bottom, and that's the rest of the rear. Now this leads us inside, where you can see we've got nice soft touch, like the suede down below, and then the carbon fiber. This is cool with all the stitching. And then, would you look at that? More of that stitching all across. Quickly pop in. Ooh. Got a little net there. Got some vents here, heated seats. Their own kind of climate zone. Change temperature a little bit. Some charging ports there at the very bottom. And then yeah, headroom back here is not, why is that on? Anyways, headroom back here is not great because of that kind of like coupe design, but what is cool, and these seats. And this leads us up front. So again, we've got this nice soft touch trim, and you can see with the kind of like suede trim down below with all the carbon fiber as well. Memory seats, blind spot running with the mirrors. Get more of that nice stitching. Window controls, the mirrors, power fold in and all of that. And then here are the seats. Really cool. And you can see all the power adjustments with the massage seat function. Carbon fiber there with all the light controls. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you can see perforated all around. It's kind of like the RS thing. Cool paddle shifters there on the back. Bunch of practical controls on the front, including your heated steering wheel, and then the RS button like right there. That's kind of cool. Anyways, some controls for the center, and then you can see here with the RS logo at the bottom. Bunch of stocks here on the very back, which is cool. But here is the gauge cluster. There we go. It's Audi's virtual cockpit, so depending on what you have selected will determine what the view shows. And I like how it shows the power on the torque. That's pretty cool. Nice 360 camera system, which allows you to see out of a bunch of different angles of the car. I think Audi does a good job with their cameras. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, got like a mouse clicky sound. But yeah, pretty quick to respond. It's easy to use overall. And then this is where you also have the drive modes. You can see you've got a comfort, dynamic, and auto. You can switch between, of course, RS1 and RS2 as well. Nice soft touch trim all across the dash. See Quattro down below. Dual zone climate with heated seats. And then we've got like our drive mode select down here, stability controls for the parking assist, parking sensors, and turn the screen off if you want. Some cup holders. Got our shifter here for the 8-speed. RS logo there with the parking brake, some more carbon fiber trim here. Okay, that's nice. Oh, wow, this phone charging pad. Nice trim here on the top with all the stitching. And then we do get a sunroof up top as well. And these vary in price quite a bit depending on how many options you have. I mean, you can get these like over $100,000 if you add all of the fun stuff to it. So just depends on how much you spec it out. Anyways, let's drive it. RS5. I'm driving this actually back to back with the S5, so make some comparisons. Interesting that the S5 actually has a slightly more displacement. Obviously, single versus twin turbo, but still 2.9 versus 3.0. Now I will say the seats are identical to the seats in the S5. They're nice seats, they're comfortable. Still confused as to why they're not cooled, especially at the price point that the RS5 gets at. You'd think you'd have a little bit more luxury, but it's not the end of the world, that's for sure. I'll say this one's got some pretty dark window tint. Oh, this is interesting. So the S5 kind of feels like it's got a little bit more punch slow down. This has more torque overall. But I'm wondering if it's because of the twin turbo setup that this really has to kind of spool up more compared to the single turbo over in the S5. Suspension's firmer too. It's not bad. It's definitely firmer. So it's an interesting distinction. Huh, another dead pine tree. Sorry, random thing. I've just noticed a lot of trees have died this year. It's a nice drive. Subaru! Taken 20 years to pull out because they got 2.5 horsepower. But yeah, I will say, I mean, this is a pretty impressive drive right off the bat. It seems pretty darn comfortable, and that's the thing about the Audis, they're just super daily drivable. And this definitely fits that bill. Oh, another Subaru. And another one! The Subarus they've invaded. Just kidding. Utah's always been full of Subarus. It's like the Subaru state. That in Colorado. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like it's got as much oomph on the low end. It has to kind of build it up over time. We'll see how this is. Oof. I mean, it's good. It's definitely more of a top-end car. It's peaky, very peaky, solid. RS5 and S5, interesting. I actually like the S5 a lot. Thought I'd like the RS5 more. I think the RS5 is obviously a nicer car, but you know, in terms of the performance, the S5 actually, that engine does super well. Interesting for me to note. But yeah, both the cars are cool. Both of them drive well, and I think it's just going to come down to how much performance you want. But I mean, what I will say is the S5 is more than enough, so maybe that'll help some of you. The S5 is more than enough. The RS5 though, it's on you know, it's on a whole nother level on the top end. But it is a top end car, so that is a distinction with the driving. So let me know what you guys think about the RS5.